The math is not mathing. The endurance that millennials are having to put in order to survive is significantly different than what boomers have to go through.
Hey beautiful people, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome back to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing great. Okay, so today's a chill day for your girl, so that's why your girl is on the road. Like, yeah, but we still gotta work. Okay, we gotta work. Okay, so today's video, it is a very interesting video and I love this conversation. The conversation, a millennial sister has come to call out the bloomers. Okay, yeah, she's calling the bloomers and she's speaking up about how the bloomers think the millennials and Gen Z are lazy, ungrateful, and all that. I know I posted a video some time ago of a millennial mom calling out the Gen X mom that, oh, they are not ready to put up, just calling out the Gen X generation. I did a video on that, but it's really interesting to hear the millennial talking about the bloomers. And I find this conversation that she has raised very interesting. She wanted to talk about how the bloomers will not survive with the type of life we millennials and Gen Z have now, even though they think we're ungrateful because we don't want to go on that path they went on, where they did 9 to 5, they got married, got student loan, went to school, got mortgage and all that. That millennials and Gen Z were not going on that path. We're like, you know what, F it, we're not going to feed on this capitalizing system that has left, that will leave us crippled at the end of the day in terms of financially and even mentally. Rather, we're not going to go on that path. I find this conversation this sister has struck very, very interesting. Anyway, guys, I need you guys to hear what she has to say, and then we'll come back and talk more, okay? So I'd love to know what you think. But before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go on and subscribe. We'll post amazing conversational videos every day, so you want to subscribe to this channel, okay? We'll post video every day, okay? 2 videos every day, so go ahead and subscribe, okay? So with that all said, guys, let's go check out what she have to say.
You know what I realized as a millennial, why boomers are so mad at us and why they think we don't work, is because boomers had to endure things and millennials and Gen Z realize that we don't have to endure things. There is a movement going on right now on TikTok where people are being very open about the fact that they don't like being a parent. They don't like being homeowners, that marriage isn't worth it, and that corporate America is a joke. All the things that boomers have been literally conditioned and primed to aspire to. The 9 to 5 job, the house with the picket fence, the marriage and the kids, all those things that they literally base their entire life around. All of those things, we are literally looking at those things and saying, nah, I'd rather just have a plant. I'd rather have a dog. I'd rather live in a high-rise building. I'd rather work in a cafe. I'd rather do those things. I'd rather become an influencer. I'd rather do anything than all the things that you told me that I should be doing. Because those things require a certain level of endurance and capacity that I, as a millennial and as a Gen Z, do not have. And the thing is, when I'm talking about enduring, I'm not just talking about enduring the marriage, the home ownership, the children, all of those things. Like, those are things that, yes, are beautiful things, but they have some certain level of endurance. I'm talking about the literal corporate sprint that you have to get through just to obtain those things. There was an article that was just dropped, okay, where they were talking about the 5 most expensive states to live in. And guess what I live at? New York City, okay? I live in one of the most expensive cities in the world, all right? If I wanted to have a family, me, my man, a house, 2 kids, I need to at least be making $267,000 a year to live comfortably. And let's not talk about what kind of a mess the job market is. So yeah, millennials, we're realizing that we don't have the capacity to endure because we're enduring things that are literally out of our control. Things that no matter how much water we put on the fire, shit is still going to burn. We get a job, now there's crummy health insurance. There's no pension, there's now a 401k. But mind you, the job basically pays nothing, so you can't even pay into that. Then they're saying that we don't have enough children. There's not enough children. But what they fail to realize is boomers back in the day had this thing called community. We don't have that now. A lot of millennial parents or millennial grandparents, meaning the parents of millennials, don't want to be grandparents. They don't want to support their kids. They don't want to help them raise their kids. So the cost of living is higher. We don't have any sense of community when it comes to like having children. We're realizing that men are using weaponized incompetence when it comes to marriage. Mm-hmm. The corporate ladder, don't even get me started about that. So then instead of boomers trying to look at things from our perspective, they just see us as a generation that spit in the face of everything that they aspired to have. But the thing is, back in the day, you can make $11,000 and buy a house. Right now, the median income for an average household that's not under the poverty line is $75,000. And the average cost of a house is $400,000. The math is not mathing. The endurance that millennials are having to put in order to survive is significantly different than what boomers have to go through. And yet, instead of taking a step back and listening to what we have to say, they decide to call us lazy, ungrateful, don't want to work. Instead of I would love to put a boomer in a millennial situation. Go to college, get your degree, take out student loans. Go to college, get your degree, but you'll have to pay through student loans, okay? After that, hope that you get a job, but you're starting life off with debt, okay? So that house that you want, technically you bought that house because that's what paid for your college degree. That loan that you took out, that would have been your mortgage that you took out, your college degree equals up to a mortgage. So try to figure that out. And then on top of that, pay that back with a job that doesn't give you a pension, but a 401k, you're making just enough to get by. Crazy. Oh, but you can't live on your own. You have to have a roommate. Mind you, your parents are pressuring you to meet somebody and get married. Put them in our situation and watch how fast they fold. That's all I have to say. But I'm realizing they're looking at us and we're looking at the dream that they have aspired to. And we're like, yeah, no. And they're taking us not wanting to engage in that as us being lazy. When it's like there's a different barrier of entry for us. We are enduring.
Please go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about everything the sister said down in the comment section. And let us know down in the comment section, are you a millennial? Are you a Gen X? Are you a bloomer? Let us know your thought down in the comment section. And do you agree with what she said? I have a lot to say about what she said. And I am a millennial, okay? So we're going to get into the conversation. I'm going to share my thought, okay? But this video got a lot of people talking. A lot of people have so much to say and respond to what she said. And most of the people talking are actually millennials. I think one or two Gen Z, which we're going to get into. But let's go hear what people have to say about what the sister said, because I find this conversation interesting. And yeah, anyway, guys, let's go check it out and then we'll come back and talk more.
You know what I realized as a millennial, why boomers are so mad at us and why they think we don't work?
Why does this app have to get me so hyped up so early in the morning? I need to collect my thoughts. Let's just state simple facts. So when my dad went to college at Youngstown University in Ohio in the 70s, it cost him $4,000 flat for 4 years of college. It costs over $20,000 at a state school these days. 4 years, that's $80,000. I'm not good at math, somebody can do it for me. Do you know what happened when I didn't have to pay my student loans during COVID? I saved enough money to buy a house in 1 year. It took 1 year of not paying my student loans to save enough money to buy a house. And people wonder why we're mad. And you can't make it make sense. If we really want to dive into the costs of things and how they've risen, I'll just give a good example of how expensive even owning a home now, if you want to do anything to it, how much it costs. When we moved into our house, we redid our bathroom. Do you know what the purple drywall cost pre-COVID? It was about $5 a sheet. We paid the first week my husband went to get it. It was about $10 a sheet, so double the price. And when he went back the next week to get more, it was $15 a sheet. Now, when my dad redid his bathroom last year, guess how much it was? $20 a sheet. But they don't get it. I just can't understand why people don't get it. And why are we not at a point of revolting? Like, why are we still buying things and making all these politicians money? All their money is invested in stocks. I'm not saying crash the economy, but like, there's way more of us than there is them.
Millennials and Gen Z realize that we don't have to endure things. There's a movement.
I'm so glad this video popped up on my page. Thank you so much to this creator because so many valid points were made. I just wanted to add another thought that even if you are doing okay, there's always this internal fear of the bottom falling out because life right now is just crazy expensive. Rent continues to go up. Inflation continues to affect all of our buying power. It is currently insane right now. So even if you're doing okay, the anxiety is there. So for example, like my rent went up $100, which in the grand scheme of things, is it that much? No, but at that same time, that's still $100. That's still something for groceries. That's still something for other daily necessities. Just to be able to live life that I now have to give just to be able to have a roof over my head. But honestly, like, not even to BS, like $100 for a lot of people is still a lot of money. And it's not even that people want to live luxurious lifestyles. Like, we're not all out here trying to go to Bora Bora every other week. We literally just want to be able to know that surprise expenses, our daily expenses are covered and we can still live comfortably and peacefully. Like, in all reality, like, I'm not that extravagant of a person. Like, I don't really envision myself living that luxurious of a lifestyle. Like, I love the idea, but realistically, like, I'm a very minimal person. I don't really have any decorations in my room, so I look like I'm so sorry about that. I don't really buy that many things, except the things I do buy make me feel like I'm a bad person because these are things that I typically need, but they're so expensive. For the record, I did not buy the Stanley Cup. This was a birthday gift for me. I would not have purchased this on my own. But even then, what if you want to buy the nice Stanley Cup? What if you want to buy the nice product from that really nice store that specializes in body products and self-care products? Point being, simply living life is expensive right now, and people should not be under constant stress and anxiety over whether or not they can afford groceries for the week and if they can pay to have a roof over their heads. That's wow.
You know what I realized as a millennial, why boomers are so mad at us and why they think we don't work?
Okay, yes, this exactly. I'm like a Gen X Zennial, whatever you want to call it. I'm a 78 baby. So I have a lot of experiences more similar to a millennial because I'm born such at the tail end of Gen X. Anyway, I was just having a conversation with my super open-minded, cool boomer mom. She's my lifeline. She's a fantastic, but she's still a boomer. She still has those life experiences that growing up in that time helps to shape their mindset. But because she's able to take in new information and change how she thinks on most occasions, it's funny because on this one, this is where we tend to hit an impasse. So I have ADHD. I'm getting assessed for autism in just a couple weeks. I found myself in complete burnout about a year ago, and I've been almost, I mean, I can work a little bit, but like I'm pretty disabled still. And I was, and so when that happens, when you realize you have ADHD, got diagnosed just a few years ago, and you start kind of unraveling all of the systems that got you here, all with ableism, and you naturally just start picking things apart, right? So that's when I started to realize what ableism was, and how difficult it is to exist in a capitalistic society, especially when you're neurodivergent. But you don't have to be neurodivergent to not want to participate in this capitalistic hellscape that we live in. Okay, fine. So my mother being an amazing listener and such an ally and supporter of my life in general, but also my struggles, she really validates everything I go through. Like I said, the one thing we disagree on is this idea of capitalism. So she and I was talking about how, like, it just sucks that, like, I have to work so many hours just to support, and our money doesn't go anywhere near as far as it did when they were younger, right? So, but I do work I have a decent job and I make a decent hourly. The problem is I just can't work that much. And so I was talking about that and she's like, oh, well, yeah, but like, a lot of people want to work because it gives them purpose. And I was like, okay, but why does my job have to be my purpose? And she goes, well, because people need to eat. I go, so what you're saying is people's purpose needs to be to make money. What if people don't purpose doesn't want to be to make money? I go, that's the system. I go, Mom, you're speaking from a capitalistic mindset. She doesn't like any of that. That's a tough pill to swallow for the older generations because they haven't grown up in this world. They grew up where you work hard, everything's cool, you make money, you get a retirement, you get a pension, like everything's great. Like the system has worked for them. We all understand that, the last generation that's getting that shit. But even though my mother is so open-minded, and even though my mother is so amazing, and I'm not saying anything bad about my mother, I would throw myself on train tracks before I did anything like that. I simply want to talk about how hard it is for even the most amazing, beautiful, open-minded people from the older generations, set aside from the government and the majority of boomers and that are, but like even the good ones, even the smart ones, it's hard to break that brainwashing. And even though my mother validates everything I go through, she still thinks that my purpose should be to work and make money because that's how it's been. But like, why? I go, Mom, that's how it's been constructed to be. That's how it's been constructed to be. Some of us just want to be in the woods, chasing butterflies and spreading love and joy and beefing up the vibration of those around us. Like we are the butterflies, you know? And I just feel like it's really hard condition to break. And I'm loving Gen Z and I love the millennials and any other person of any other generation who finally is realizing, like, we don't have to be a cog in the machine. Shit up and make this ours.
And millennials and Gen Z realize that we don't have to endure things.
Everything Ty says in this video is facts, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a different layer as someone that is an elder millennial and has spent the past decade traveling around the world and living abroad. And what I will say is, yes, we are waking up because the system doesn't work for us, and the system was designed to keep the powerful at the top in power and continuing to make far more money than any of us at the bottom. Now, the reason that the boomers were able to thrive on this system and now the millennials and Gen Z are pushing back and creating this movement of pushback and saying, no, we don't need to withstand this, is because the results of the system doesn't work for us anymore. So the boomers don't even realize they were enslaved in this system because the system provided them with enough distraction and money to comfortably survive and live. Yes, they followed the path. They got married young. They got their corporate careers. They got their 401ks. And you know what? That benefited them because they could afford cars to pay off college, homes, mortgages, and then to have a great stock portfolio with investment funds mixed with Starbucks, which they're telling us not to drink because they think that's where we're spending all of our money. The Matrix has always been designed to keep the powerful people wealthy, and now we're pushing back. And that's why, for instance, they want to shut down TikTok, because for once, a non-American company that has actually figured out an algorithm that's fair, that helps people go viral, that helps build community and share information that's not bogged down by a certain sort of algorithm, is the one that's being targeted to be shut down in order to limit the free speech and flow of free ideas that would disrupt the system. Now, so what I've learned from traveling is that this system doesn't work. It's only in America that this works. Of course, we were founded as a capitalist country. It's going to take many years to change that. It's never going to fully change, and I do believe that everyone should have the, option and dream to pursue, to move here, to make their money, to become wealthy if that's what they want to do. However, a lot of other countries don't really operate in this way, and you can see this just from the ground floor up, from youth into adulthood. Why are we the only country that's drinking the Kool-Aid that you need to go straight from high school, straight to college, straight into a career, straight into a marriage even, maybe before your brain is even fully developed at 25, without traveling, without seeing the world, without seeing how other countries operate, without humbling yourself by experiencing what other communities experience? When I was 24, turning 25, I was living in LA. I was working as an actor. I was pursuing this career. And I had a quarter life crisis because I was like, I haven't even gone outside North America. Like, how am I supposed to even act when I don't even know what's going on in the world? And I have no life experience because all I've been doing is working to put myself through college or working 3 jobs and trying to build an acting career. So I made a pivot, and that traveling ended up being a decade living abroad, where I lived in Australia, then Dubai. I worked for Emirates Airline, and I saw the entire world, and I realized we are really drinking the Kool-Aid. Now, make your money if that's what you want, but America has it wrong, and we're seeing the system crumble. And for instance, if you look at countries like in Australia and the UK, where they take gap years between youthhood and true adulthood, people are a lot more happier because they see what's going on in the world, and then they take those ideas and bring them back to their country. It's the same way that you can look at Dubai, right, which is, you would think, a very strict Muslim country, but it's very actually progressive and moving very quickly because the young Emirati children that are now, teenagers and then going to college, go to college in America. They take these progressive ideas back, and then they push the needle forward and create change in that society. The problem in America is we haven't had much change. All we've been doing is following the same path that we've been told to do, to work in these corporations, to work these jobs, to be trading your time for money, which maybe gets you enough to survive, but right now most people are barely even surviving. And who is that benefiting? It's only benefiting the very people at the top. Why is it that since 2020, the 5 richest men in the world have doubled their wealth while all of us are still struggling? We are now on track to have trillionaires. That's excessive. It doesn't even make sense, and it's frankly disgusting. And one day, bookmark this, this is not going to work. These people with all of this money, these trillionaires, maybe when they die off, and the people that inherits that money is going to realize they're going to have to start spreading this around, because AI is going to be taking over our jobs. There's not going to be enough ways for people to make money. And in hundreds of years, there's going to have to be some sort of supplemental universal income. I mean, that's the only way that the human race is going to survive in this sort of society, because it's not going to be from the system that is currently happening in America. And that's why we are seeing a pushback, for instance, in movements like ending corporate greed, because it just doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't make sense that people are still working 40-hour work weeks now when we have AI that's supposedly going to be helping in efficiency. Therefore, like Bernie Sanders is pushing for, that means the working person should be able to work less. These systems are crumbling, and now we're in the Aquarian age where all of this is going to begin to be questioned. So continue to speak out, continue to share while we can, while we still have this platform. And this is how things are going to change, because the current system that benefits only the rich and wealthy is not going to last forever. It's going to take some time to change it, but this is not going to be the same Kool-Aid that we're going to pass on to the younger generation. And I will definitely tell you, if you have the opportunity to travel, if you're young and you're watching this, or you're about to go to college, or maybe you even graduated from college and you're thinking about starting a career, go travel. Take a year off. Take out a loan if you're out of cash. It's worth it in dividends, because traveling is going to change your life. It's going to open your mind. It's going to help you bring different perspectives back to America, because that's what we need. We can't keep following the same herd mentality. You need to think different. You need to see and enact different things, because that's how society progresses forward. Keep flexing.
Please go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Love to know your take on this conversation. But please keep it respectful. Here on the channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we'll do it in a respectful way. I find this conversation very interesting because everybody that was talking, everybody was coming from a different angle, even though we're still addressing the issue of why millennials and Gen Z were taking a different path than the Gen X and the Boomer generation took. So for me personally, this is my own take on this. A lot of the people talking are Americans, and I feel like, yes, you're an American, so you guys are speaking for America, but I feel like this whole capitalism and the structure of how society generally in the world is just to keep the rich richer while the poor. Yeah, because I feel like almost same thing is happening here in my society, in my culture, in my country. A lot of the bloomer, my dad is a bloomer, and my bloomer parents, I think my mom is a bloomer too. They cannot fathom what is going on in the society now, and some of them, like when, except you meet the ones that are open-minded and are ready to have the conversation. Some of them, they just can't even stand the fact that we're thinking different. We're not going on that path that they went for. I remember me growing up, they said, go to school, you're going to, yes, I'm not against going to school, okay? I feel like education helps you, but the thing is that be very intentional, have those deep conversations like, what do you want to do with it? How is that education going to progress you? Because yeah, in my society, we have a system where people go to school and you see people that have BSc and all that, master's degree, even doctorate degree, be an Uber driver, work in an eatery, work in a filling station to pump gas and all that. So their degree don't do anything for them, because the way the society is being set up is, who do you know who is going to give you that job? Because so many people are going to school and they have less job available. We just trickle down to where we have a lot of people struggling financially. And I feel like millennials, especially, I would say millennials, some millennials like myself here in my country, and the Gen Z, that's what they call the Gen Z in my society, Sorosoke. In my country, they call the Gen Z Sorosoke because they are not just going to sit back and let you just pour things down on them without them asking you questions, why should they, and all that. Those questions that some of us millennials, most millennials here in my country did not ask, because we just went with the planner that was given us. This is how the trickle of life. You go to school, you get married, you have kids, and you build a small house, and that is it. You go to the workforce, work 9 to 5, and all that. I remember when I told my dad then, and even my mom them, that, oh, you know what, I don't want, like, I'm going to quit my job, because physically it was telling on me. I do 10 hours every day in traffic, like back and forth. Sometimes I do 5 hours going to the office, 5 hours coming back, and it was telling on my, imagine spending 10 hours or maybe 4 hours every single day in traffic, going to work and coming back from work from Monday to Friday, and your pay is not even up to $100 a month. And I said I was going to quit. I'm going to focus on my business and my content creating thing. But my parents could not understand why I want to do that. Like, okay, you're a content creator where you do makeup. So I thought makeup was a hobby. It's not a job. They didn't get it. I remember when I sat my mom down and I had to explain what the content creating thing is. Because I remember that she came to my house and your girl was struggling financially, which we all are. And we're talking about, and she was like, oh, I pray God gives you a job. God gives you a better job from that job. And I was like, Mom, can you stop it? Rather, pray for God to direct me on this path I want to take on. I don't want to work 9 to 5 anymore. I don't want, like, 9 to 5 does not do anything for you. You're not going to progress. You're not going to live that life you want to live. And you sell your time for peanuts, and yet you get nothing in return. There's nothing to show for it. And this is due to people around me that I've seen, older people around me that I've seen, that have worked their butt off, and yet they have nothing to show of them. Some of them can't even afford a home for themselves. Some of them can't even afford a life for themselves. They finish working, or they ask them to retire, and they have nothing to show for it. And for me, I didn't want to live that type of life. And I was like, no, I'm not. And I had to break down the content creating thing for her. And she was like, oh, really? Really? Oh, really? Now, she's one of the people that watch my content every single time I post. But that's the conversation. I feel like the bloomer, my mom is a bloomer and the a Gen X generation can't really fathom, and even some millennials. Some of my friends can't even fathom why I quit my 9 to 5 job to pursue my business and also to do content creating. They can't even fathom it, and they can't fathom how your purpose in life is not all about just to go to work 9 to 5 to sell your time for money, but also to make money and also to impact life, to educate people, to build a community. And I'm so blessed that I have this community that I have now with you people. Amazing community where we have amazing conversation, educate each other, and it helps me personally. Having this community that I have has helped me both mentally and even spiritually and even financially. It has helped me because it has given me the time to do what I love, which is to talk to people, expand my reason, not just in confine of what I know in my society, to hear other people speak and share their experience. So I feel like it's not just spectacular to just the United States. I feel like generally in the world, what works for the bloomers and even the Gen X is not working for us, and we're pushing back. And why it's not working for us is the fact that we are having conversation among ourselves. If you notice our bloomer parents and our Gen X parents, there is this code of secrecy. You don't discuss your salary, you don't discuss money, you don't discuss the pain you're going through in our home, you don't discuss your mental health. There's a whole lot of secrecy that is going on in that generation. But in this generation, in this time we live in, there's a lot of people who are speaking up, we're talking, we're having conversation. And I feel like that is making people to clock in and clicking, like, you know what, this system is just, it's just not working, and people are pushing back. But yeah, I find this conversation very interesting. I would love to know your own take on this conversation down in the comment section, but please keep it respectful as always. Go on in the comment section and share your thoughts. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversations. So go ahead and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.